Hi guys, Jared here with Day Traders FX. Hope you guys are having a great week. Let's get to the setups. We've got a couple of good things to talk about. You can see just quickly here in the markets, oil stayed a little bit flat. Gold is kind of on the slow incline, but made a big comeback from its low of a couple of weeks ago. Dow closed just a little bit in the positive today, not a whole bunch, and S&P up just a little bit. So overall, markets were up a bit, not a ton. But definitely something worth keeping an eye on. So we've seen some news out today. We had the GDP for Canada, and we had consumer confidence, which was much better than expected. We got a 68.1 as opposed to a 61.4, so really good stuff there. You can see things are a little bit quiet. And were a bit quiet during the UK and European sessions because of a bunch of bank holidays, but that should pick up again today. Coming into tomorrow, we have a lot of news once again. We have the ADP report. This is going to be a big to-do, so to speak. Then we have the FOMC statement as well, which is going to be big tomorrow. So we've got a lot of big stuff coming up there. Manufacturing PMI out of the UK as well. So some big activity will be coming up here shortly. Here's the euro dollar and what I think looks interesting on this pair. We've been talking quite a bit about this whole thing here, and the euro dollar had a pretty decent little head and shoulders pattern on this weekly chart in the works, and it just looks like that may not come much to fruition here. We'll have a better idea above this high here, which is 13200, and we've come pretty close to that. But the euro broke one of our first main levels here, which was the high of this week and just about the high of last week. Last week's high was 131.27, and here we have 131.20 as the high of this week. And so we broke through that, took off, big movements up, everything looking good there. And now the question is, what are we going to be able to do with this trade? And what I am interested in currently is I'm interested in getting long in this euro dollar. This will be a good trade to scale into because I'm interested in getting long in it against 132 or around 13200 against these lows back here. So we're going to need some pretty decent sized stops. Stops will need to be below about 130.50. But I think this 131 kind of 20-30 area is going to be a good spot to start looking at taking some trades to get long on the euro dollar once again. This was an important level to break. It broke right through it, no questions asked, and away it goes. So that being the case, I think there's good rally potential in this euro dollar to continue, but we're going to need to see a little bit of retracement, and we're going to have a tough time up here at 13200. So let's make no mistake about that. But we've kind of invalidated the 4-hour head and shoulders pattern that we had in the works. So we're above that. We're above the shoulder. Everything's out of play there. Again, the euro gets pretty bearish below 129.50. So if we get some news like the FOMC statement tomorrow or the European Central Bank statement, press conference on Thursday. If this level gets broken, I'm going to become really bearish on the euro dollar. But anything above 129.50, I'm pretty bullish. And even on the more shorter term, if this can stay above ultimately 130.50, but I think an entry at 131.20 to get long is going to be good on this euro dollar, and aiming for 13200 and ultimately about 13400. So that's what I'm going to be looking for on the euro dollar, and we'll see if we get it. The pound dollar here, pound dollar is doing a couple of interesting things. First of all, let's go to this 1-hour chart for a moment. We do have a missed daily pivot back here and a missed weekly pivot here. And so this is about 154.17 and this is about 153.95. So these both are important levels. The pound dollar is kind of interesting. I think there's bullish potential still a bit more, and I think trading against the weekly lows right here, which are about 154, 65, 70, right in that general area. I think that's worth keeping an eye on. If we can stay above that, I'd like to get long. But I think that a move, if this stays above 155.15, then I think we have some good bullish potential to continue taking this pair higher. So I'll be looking at something like that, and an entry maybe around 155.100. to get long against the weekly low, first of all, which is around 154.65.70. So I'm going to be looking for opportunities to get long there. But if we get below this weekly low, then I think we're headed into the weekly pivot, which is about 50 pips below, and the missed daily pivot, which is almost 70 pips below. So below that weekly low, I think we have a good opportunity of hitting those two targets and those two support zones at 154.17 and 153.95. So I think that's going to be a good little zone, but we do have up here a lot of resistance at just below 15600. We have the 200-day moving average. We have 50% fib. We have the top of the channel. A lot of good things happening at 15600, and I'll be looking to probably short once we get up there. Next thing that we have up is this Aussie dollar, and the Aussie dollar has been really, really choppy, but it's slowly kind of just continuing higher. We have a nice bullish engulfing candle right here, and we're clearing that 200 moving average on both the daily and the 4-hour charts, which is important, and we've been above it for a day or two on the 1-hour chart. So all of that stuff's looking pretty good. And then, so I think we've got some good activity in the works there. So what I'm looking for on a short term is trading against the low of this bullish engulfing candle. So that level's around 103.25, and we're not too far. We're only 40 some pips away from that. So if I can get a little retracement on this Aussie dollar, maybe a little bit closer. I don't want to risk much on this one because I think this is going to be a little bit of a volatile pair. But if we can get an entry maybe around 103.40, 45, 50 even, and just risk about 25 pips with stops below 103.25, I think the Aussie dollar could be a nice buy opportunity into some of those highs and into that upper area. But the Aussie dollar, you can see that there hasn't been much trend for several months. It's really channeled, so we'll see when that big breakout happens, and it will happen at some point, so we want to make sure that we're there for it and that we get some of that activity. So let's keep an eye on that. I don't talk about yen pairs a lot, but I think there's some interesting stuff to talk about, and specifically all we need to know about this euro yen is 128.80. As long as we're below 128.80, we're bearish. We're currently 55 pips off that level. And I think that we're in a good zone where we could start to see some further downward movement. But I'd like to get short on the euro yen closer to 128.80 because I want to have my stops above this. If we break 128.80, this pair is most likely going to rally and head straight up. And so I want to make sure that we can keep our stops pretty close to this. If we do break 128.80, I'm long into at least 129.90. But if we stay below 128.80, then I think we have a big run down potential. You can see these trend lines and all this stuff here, and we have a lot of missed targets down here. So I think there's minimum 500 pips on this euro yen if we break, if we stay below 128.80. This is that time of year where a lot of things are going to start happening for the next, over the next month. So let's be ready for all of that. Aussie yen. I like this level a lot, 100.30. Below this, I'm hugely bearish Aussie yen. That's Friday's low, and I'm hugely bearish, and I'll be selling this movement down if we break 100.30. On the upside, we do have some upside potential here, and you can see that there's a nice trend line, and I'm not sure exactly where I'm going to be looking for that entry. Probably somewhere above the weekly high. There's a lot of channeling and a lot of choppiness there, and this weekly high has had some decent impact on the market before. So probably 101.60 area. Beyond that would be a good bullish move. So I'm kind of just waiting for this 100.30 or 101.60 to give way and get us some nice movement there. So that's what I'll be watching for. The rest of the pairs, I don't know what I'll be doing with those. Probably not much, but I think we have some great opportunity with euro dollar, pound dollar, Aussie dollar, euro yen, Aussie yen. So lots of good pairs there, lots of things coming up. I look forward to seeing you guys in the chat. Make sure to follow me on Twitter at DayTradersFX. Thanks, everyone.